This could be the single best hi-fi gear that you get for under $50, maybe even under $100. What is it? It's the Koss KPH40. These look like toy headphones. They don't sound like toy headphones. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the best $30, $35 you can spend on hi-fi. I didn't really know much about these. These are the KPH40s. Right now they're $35 on Amazon, $34.99. I bought them for $29.99, and I don't really even think that they were on sale. I just think $30, $35 is the price. I've known about Koss for a long time. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Koss has, well, been around for a long time. I never gave them any serious consideration when it came to headphones, like buying some. And I was at Capitol Audio Fest and I met Zeos, and he had a pair of these in his room. And he had some aftermarket pads on there or whatever. Anyway, I sat down, I put them on, and I turned them on, and I was really utterly blown away. I mean, completely and utterly blown away at their sound quality, really, just how good they sounded. And this is not a they sound good at their price thing. This is just a they sound great. I just figured I'll get a pair. I truly believe that this could be an entry point into hi-fi. And this could also be somebody's first and last open back headphone. If you're not into headphones, I would still get these because they're spectacular. But first, a word from our sponsor, Kamikoto Knives. Huge thank you to today's sponsor, Kamikoto Knives. These are some good knives. I like to do a little food prep in the office every now and again. These knives are made from real Japanese steel with a lifetime warranty. That's right, lifetime warranty. They come in this beautiful, heavy-duty ash wood box. And they're used by Michelin chefs all over the world. Apparently that's a good chef. This is gonna get real interesting real fast. This thing's ridiculously sharp. Here, hold on. Let's see if I can do it again. Hey. Cardboard. Nothing dulls a knife like cardboard. Kamikoto builds upon 800 years of technology and expertise when it comes to making knives. Each knife is meticulously created and hand inspected before it goes out the door to you. You can get a whole bunch of knives from Kamikoto. I have the 3-piece set. Comes with a utility knife, 5 inches long. The slicing knife, 8.5 inches long. And this beauty, the Nakiri 7-inch vegetable knife. Yay. Kamikoto has several special offers going on, including their holiday sale, which gets you $50 off your purchase if you use the code CHEAPAudioMan. So go to kamikoto.com/CheapAudioMan, get $50 off your knife set, and help support the channel. Each blade is crafted using techniques that have been honed and perfected by generations of knifesmiths. It goes through a rigorous 19-step process that takes several years from start to finish to complete. With over 100 years of experience between them, the Kamikoto expert bladesmiths hone and shape raw steel into hardy blades, polishing and sharpening them to excruciating fine detail. Kamikoto uses a single beveled edge, not two bevel, single bevel, which makes them extremely sharp. You can cut through a ribeye like butter. Interestingly enough, you can also cut through butter like butter. To keep them sharp, you can get one of Kamikoto's whetstones, used by many Michelin star chefs. Go to kamikoto.com/CheapAudioMan to get $50 off your purchase. Quality. Well, it's good and it's kind of bad all at the same time. If you're old enough to have been around in the 80s and you used any of the included headphones that came with portable CD players, Walkmans, things like that, this is going to be a familiar looking design. It's not bad, but it's quite different from the headphones that we have today from the likes of Sennheiser, Headphone. It is very much a lighter weight design. But that's not a bad thing because lighter weight design means lighter weight on the head. So the band is actually made out of metal, and there is a little bit of adjustment right here. It just slides in and out. They're really comfortable, even though they're on ear. So this is an on-ear headphone. Obviously, this is not going to go around your ear. They rotate here, and it's a pretty significant amount of rotation. So you just put these on your ear, and it just kind of goes right to the angle that you need. They have attached cables, kind of what you should expect. Even the Grado SR80E, SR60Es, they have attached cables. 2.5 millimeter attachment to here. So this kind of hangs down, and then you connect the 2.5 millimeter. And I'm here to tell you, you really got to get it in here and kind of seated like that. Otherwise, one of the channels keep cutting out. It's not that I got a bad set of headphones. It's just that this thing right here, you need to get it seated around, and it almost looks like not a watertight, but a water resistant seal. And then the other side is a 3.5 millimeter, and it has a flat cable. Cable's not very long, about 4 foot cable. Kind of perfect for on the go though. So let's talk about how these sound. I was blown away when Wild One by, what's his name? What is it? La 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 la. Cat Stevens. Wild One by Cat Stevens. Blown away when it came on because the guitar seemed actually separated out way outside. The la 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 at the beginning, again in space, and then he came in. The guitar came in, and then he came in. The spatial acuity, the ability for these $30, $35 headphones to place instruments in space is absolutely 100% the most remarkable headphone I have heard. And I'm talking, this isn't doing any digital trickeration like Sony's, like Bose, like Soundcore, like AirPods. These are just that good that they're putting stuff around you. Throw Me Away, Korn, MTV Unplugged. The audience was way back. The Japanese taiko drums were forward and out. Then Jonathan Davis's voice was front and center. It's just remarkable what these can do from a soundstage and instrument placement perspective. As far as their overall sonic quality, they have a bit of a forward lean in the upper mid-range. They have a forward lean in the lower mid-range to somewhat upper bass. Meaty part of the mids is a little bit scooped out and a little bit warmish because I think there's a pretty decent bump, 200 to maybe 300 hertz. It's very pleasing, but vocal clarity and things like acoustic guitars suffer a bit. Bottom end is incredibly extended. Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys went way down. This isn't going to be a super, there's a lot of pressure on your ear with boom, boom, but you can tell that there's bass presence, and you can tell that it extends very well. Another track that blew me away, is Chris Isaak, Wicked Games, that one. I'm talking completely different experience. His voice, though, was again a lot warmer, less detail. But this is kind of a V-shaped / warm-ish headphones for vocals and acoustic guitars. You're going to sacrifice a little bit of clarity in the meaty part of the mids. Don't let this dissuade you because they sound incredible. Absolutely incredible. One last thing about partnering equipment. I use the Dragonfly Cobalt on my iPhone and my Mac to do a little listening through this. I will say that I didn't think these were a good combination. The Cobalt is incredibly analytical. Even though the mids needs a little bit of cleanup and more of an analytical amplification and DAC, it was too much with the Cobalt. The irony was, I thought the Koss sounded better when I simply had them hooked up to the headphone jack on my Mac. I'd imagine that the Lightning to 3.5 millimeter adapter for the iPhone would sound just as good. Frankly, I think they sound better when you're just hooking them straight up to the computer or using a really cheap DAC. As I said before, the soundstage and instrument placement is absolutely otherworldly. I'm not just saying it at its price it's good, I'm saying it's great, period. They're ridiculously cheap. Obviously, that's very important on something like this. They do sound great, and they would sound great across the board. But there is a little bit of, I guess that they're not perfect, that's for sure. And I'll get into that here in a second. You can wear them all day. One of the things about headphones is they do get uncomfortable. And I know I've kind of poked fun at this by saying do some neck exercises. But IEMs will get a bit uncomfortable. Your ear will itch after a while. You'll need to take some alcohol, clean them up, and things like that. Over ears, really good ones, have a tendency to be a little bit on the heavier side, or the clamping force may be too much. Bottom line is, after a couple hours, you don't feel great with wearing IEMs or with wearing traditional headphones. The Koss, I just forgot that they were there, which is amazing. So this could be an all-day type of a headphone. If you're working from home, doing remote type of stuff, they're super easy to drive. You don't need any external dongle deck for these. It will clean them up a bit, but I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. I think a good combo would be the Dragonfly Red, because the Dragonfly Red is a bit warmer when it comes to a dongle deck. And finally, it sounds better than any spatial audio type of headphone I've ever heard, which is truly remarkable considering there's nothing going on except design on this thing. So if you want a crazy immersive experience with headphones, these are it. And they don't even need some special spatial audio track to get you there. Cons, they're not going to isolate anything. As I said before, you're going to hear what's going on around you. And that could be a good thing. When I'm doing podcasts and things like that, I like to hear what's going on. I like to hear my own voice, because then I'm not speaking too loudly. So I like an open back headphone when I'm doing Zooms, when I'm doing podcasts. And I think it really lends itself to the soundstage spaciousness. The lower mid, upper bass hump covers up mid-range clarity. This could be a good or a bad thing for you. I'm a clarity nut, and I think if I could just, and I'll get these on an EQ sometime, if I can just probably pull down 250 just a little bit, I think it's going to clean up the mid-range. But this could be a sound signature that you really like. And when I just accepted it and kind of sat back and enjoyed it, it wasn't terrible for me. But I know what my songs should sound like Lena Hall, Creep. Her voice just seemed warmer and thicker, slightly veiled. But that's okay. That might not be an issue for you at all. And with a little EQ, I don't think it'll be an issue for anybody. Conversely, the upper mid-range, I think, leans hot. And these can get a little bit fatiguing at times. From a comfort perspective, I think you're going to be able to wear them all day. If you're listening to moderate to higher levels, I think these can get fatiguing. At least they did for me after about an hour. If you're listening at somewhat reasonable levels, you're probably not going to have an issue. But when you crank it up, they get a little spicy. They also start to get a bit jumbled up with really complicated tracks at medium to higher levels of listening. Complex tracks, though, get jumbled. I start to lose that separation. Things like S&M2, you have a symphony going on, you have Metallica going on, you have a bunch of drums going on. It starts to meld the lines. So keep that in mind. What are my final thoughts? Final thoughts. Absolutely stunning. Stunningly awesome. And not stunningly awesome at their price. They're stunningly awesome. Period. I think these are competing with headphones up to probably the Hi-Fi-Man Sandara, I think, are better than these. These are not embarrassed by $100, $150 headphones. And I don't think it's till you get into the Sandaras that you can really say, wow, these are way better than these. Sennheiser 560S, better. They're kind of an oddball at $150 to $200. So they're really good. These are really good. I think under $100, well, under $50 especially. Under $100, yeah. If you're looking for something you can wear all day, these. I would choose these over anything else. And if they break, just go get another pair. You can also get some aftermarket pads that I think will improve the sound a little bit. Go check out videos from people like Zeos, or probably just Zeos. And I think he talks about what you can get to make these sound even better. Highly recommended. One of the best cheap products that could get you into hi-fi for less than $30 or less than $40 if you're getting a dongle DAC, you're into hi-fi for that much. This could be the gateway into hi-fi. So if you're curious, you should do yourself a favor and buy a pair of these. If you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Patron-only Zooms, Patron-only Discord, Patron-only Facebook group. You can also use the links in the description. This will be an affiliate link, which means if you click and you buy, I get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more. So it's a great way to support the channel. You can also sign up for Amazon Music, Tidal Music, Rune. Click on the link, sign up. Even if it's just for a trial, even if you quit, I still get a couple of bucks. And then you can use the thanks button down by the share button. Give me a couple of bucks, buy me a cup of coffee if you like. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen, maybe through your new Koss cheap headphones, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.